Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, you know, one of the most common questions we get at Washington Gun Law is, hey, I'm traveling out of state. I'm getting on an airplane. What exactly are the rules? Can I take my firearm? Okay. And does it depend on what state you're leaving to and what state you're coming to? Well, that's an interesting question. The answer is a little bit more simple than you might think. So today, from outside SeaTac Airport, let's talk about flying with a firearm. Okay, so the topic we're talking about today is flying with a firearm. Can you do it? Now, this video is going to relate only to domestic travel, okay? This does not talk about international travel. That would probably be an entire series, and I'm sure in most instances, it's nowhere close to possible. However, when flying domestically, whether you are going from a blue state to a blue state, a red state to a blue state, or vice versa, none of that actually matters. State law does not dictate how we transport firearms while traveling domestically on an airliner. No, in fact, TSA regulations actually do it, and they are very straightforward. So, if we are flying with a firearm, what do we need to do? Well, it's all spelled out on this little website right here, but we're going to summarize it for you right now so you don't have to spend time on a government website. You know, I will say this is probably not the best place to be shooting a video. Okay, for firearms, according to TSA regulations, firearms and parts must be unloaded and locked in a hard-sided container and transported in checked baggage only. Certain firearm parts, including firearm frames and receivers, are prohibited in all carry-on baggage. All firearms and certain firearm parts, as described in the Federal Register, must be declared at the airline ticket counter during the check-in process. Ammunition does not need to be declared, but must be securely packaged in checked baggage. Okay, so all firearms are going to go in a hard-sided case in your checked baggage, and they are going to be declared to the airline. All ammunition is also going to go into a hard-sided case. If you are traveling only with ammunition, you do not need to declare the ammunition, but you do need to declare firearms if you're traveling with those. Now, there are more regulations, including replica firearms may be transported in checked baggage only. Travelers are encouraged to check regulations related to carrying firearms where they are traveling from and to, as laws may vary by destination. And that is true. Getting yourself to the airport or getting yourself from the airport somewhere else, now we're talking about state laws that are going to apply. However, once we get it into the airport and once we get to our destination airport, that's where TSA regulation completely governs. And there is more, including rifle scopes are permitted in carry-on and checked bags. Yeah, no, seriously, not the best place to do a video here. Now, what is considered a loaded firearm? Because every state has a definition and TSA has its own definition. So just so we're clear, TSA's regulations read, TSA considers a firearm to be loaded when both the firearm and its ammunition are accessible to the passenger. For example, if an individual has a firearm in an accessible baggage and ammunition in his or her pocket, or any combination where the individual has access to both, the firearm is considered loaded for purposes of assessing a civil penalty. So that means, listen, even if the firearm is completely unloaded, but you have ammunition improperly stored right next to it and it's both accessible to you, that is considered a loaded firearm under TSA regulations and subjects you to very stiff financial penalties. Now, as we say hello to everyone on that airplane right there, let's also talk about ammunition. Firearm magazines and ammunition clips, whether loaded or empty, must be securely boxed or included within a hard-sided case containing an unloaded firearm. So your empty magazines also need to go into a hard-sided case. There's more. Small arms ammunition, including ammunition not exceeding .75 caliber for a rifle or pistol, and shotgun shells of any gauge, may be carried in the same hard-sided case as the firearm as described in the packaging guidelines above. And there is a couple of limited exceptions for federal and local state law enforcement officers. But the bottom line is, is that if you want to fly with a firearm, which is absolutely totally lawful to do, there are TSA regulations you must comply with. You must put it in a hard-sided case. The ammunition needs to be stored separately. It also needs to be in a hard-sided case, and it needs to be declared to the airline at the time that you check your baggage in. And that is important. It has to be declared. A failure to do so will, at the very minimum, and I've had clients have this happen, it will subject you to a relatively stiff federal civil penalty, somewhere in the neighborhood usually of $2,000 to $2,500. Of course, there can be other state laws that could violate you and subject you to even greater sanctions, including criminal penalties and incarceration. Listen, we're going to link up everything that we talked about right down there below in the description box so you can check the regulations for yourself. If you have any other questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. But if you don't, that's okay. That information's right down there in the description box. In the meantime, I do want all of you to remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. From the noisy SeaTac Airport here in Seattle, Washington, thanks for watching and stay safe.